for a set of owners that want to be lauded as geniuses and want to be spoken about as clever and shrewd operators, they are very, very dumb. Where was the succession planning? I knew Fabinho was going to be sold a month before he was sold. But we took the money, and what have we done with it since? Nothing. We've gone to Germany, we've done that camp. We've gone to Malaysia, we've done that camp. And then we sat at home and have done nothing else other than get the piss taken out of us by a championship team. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Using Surfshark, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries or other streaming platforms like DAZN in Spain for all those important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. Everything. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe from being hacked if you use public Wi-Fi. Let's say you're in a cafe, you're at college, you're out and about, they've got you covered. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning you can share your account with friends or family or that neighbour who's a little bit cheap. On top of all of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can also upgrade to Surfshark One, which includes the VPN, an alert system for breaches related to your data, such as emails and credit cards, and an antivirus software for your desktop. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for a little over €2 a month, and you'll get an additional 3 months free. Simply scan the QR code on screen right now or use the link in the description and enter the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. I've been monitoring social media a little bit, through posts that I get sent, and apparently there's a little bit of elitism going on again in our fan base. Apparently, if you don't get behind the owners, you're not a real fan. That's apparently the nonsense that's been put out there right now. Don't let anybody, and I mean anybody, tell you how to support your football club. You're entitled to your own level of fandom, however you see fit. If you want to call out the owners because you want Liverpool to be successful, you have every right to call those owners out. What I will say is, we need people to come together on this. Shouting each other down, belittling each other isn't going to help us. So, what we need to do is what we've continued to do, which is let it be known that this is unacceptable, that these owners have to come out and have to support the manager. And I would go as far as to say, maybe this is a little bit controversial, but if you aren't annoyed with the owners right now, if you aren't frustrated at what FSG have done to our club and the lack of ambition they're showing, then I would wonder what you want. I would sincerely ask, what do you expect to happen? Because as long as they get away with it, they will continue to do what they've done, which is the bare minimum. So, again, I want to reiterate, don't let anybody tell you how to support the football club. Don't let anybody talk down to you about how long you've been supporting the club, where in the world you're from. Your voice is the same as any other voice, and you will always have a place on Anfield Agenda. Know that, because that's what we're about on here, bringing fans together and not dividing them, not being elitist, not being up our own backsides, because others do that. We try to bring people together. I know people think I'm a loudmouth. I know people think that often Craig just rants for the sake of it. I don't. I rant for reasons. And the reason on this occasion, my friends, is that FSG are they're winging it. You've seen it. There's no rhyme or reason why we are sitting here now, Tuesday the 8th of August, with a game to go in 5 days, and we have no defensive midfielder. And we are 6 players down from the squad that we had last year. I'll reiterate what I said last night. Liverpool have the smallest registered squad in the Premier League. Liverpool, the mighty Liverpool, the most successful club in English football, right now have the smallest squad. Let that sink in. So, I wasn't on social media to see who said what and who didn't say what. But what I will say is, anybody who tries to tell somebody else that they are not a fan because they don't see the world through their eyes, that's pathetic. That's the argument of somebody who's a cuckold or somebody who absolutely has no argument. So if somebody tries to run you down, if somebody tries to tell you that you're not a real fan if you don't get behind these owners, ask yourself one simple question. how is it benefiting them to be in that camp? How is it benefiting them to stay stum? Because there's usually a reason, right? And that reason is ... access. So we've always wanted and set out our goals from day one to say that we're going to be a voice for fans. We're going to bring fans together. But we're not afraid to speak out when we need to. And I will call out John W. Henry, and I will call out any other channel or any other media outlet that I think are towing the company line. Because we need solutions. We need transfers, and we need the manager to get backed. Now look, there's a growing argument to say Klopp could be a little bit at fault with some of this. And truly, that's a discussion I think we should have as fans. We all love Jurgen Klopp. Nobody wants the man to go. But I think a lot of us would like to see him be a little bit more critical of the owners publicly. But it's easier said than done, and I do understand that. Danny Bingham, and again, I want to point out before I read this, I'm reading this out because it's a super chat, not because I'm trying to run anybody down. He said, and thank you for your super chat, Danny, Paul Machin needs calling out, absolutely mad. So, what I seen was an interaction between one of the guys on that channel and a Liverpool fan who's fairly well known on social media. But what type of arrogance do you have to tell somebody else that they're supporting football wrong? What type of arrogance do you have to say that if you don't get behind the owners, you're not a real fan? I don't know what would go through somebody's mind to say that. Because, and I've said this numerous times, my friends, I've been lucky enough to get to know Liverpool fans from America, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Ireland, Northern Ireland, France, Germany, you name it. I've been fortunate enough over my years on this channel to get to know Liverpool fans around the world. And some of the stuff that you guys do to follow the Reds blows my mind. Getting up at 5 or 6 o'clock to watch league games, travelling a couple of hours to your local supporters club so you can be together in a bar or a restaurant early doors. My friends over in New Zealand and Australia, they have to get into venues early to make sure that they can get there before the place closes at 11 for a late night kickoff. I understand and appreciate and respect these things. That's why at Anfield Agenda, we've always been a voice for fans around the world. Because there's enough people covering the local bases. There's enough great outlets covering social media, podcasts, videos and stuff for locals. But there was nobody to stick up for the overseas fans. There was nobody to stick up for the non-locals. And that's what we've always tried to do here. So that's the starting point. Now it's time to come together and figure out what we can do. When an individual has an opinion that belittles what you think, just think about their motivation. Opinion is swayed by money and opportunity, said Jeff. Yes, it is, Jeff, at times. I just don't get it. I don't get how somebody can profess to be a fan of Liverpool Football Club and not be disgusted by what we're seeing from our owners. I truly don't. Do you not want to see Liverpool succeed? Do you not want to see Liverpool win? Because the truth isn't that we don't have the money, that we don't have the ability to buy these players. We absolutely do. It's a conscious decision by our owners not to spend the money. That cannot go unsaid. And if we can agree on that, if we can agree that there is a possibility to spend this money, then I think we all have to come to the conclusion that somebody's stopping it. Who that is, whether that's Klopp, Schmadtke, the owners, I guess we can have that conversation. Bulldog Mayonnaise said, we just need more money for the club, not owners. Can you imagine a net spend of 43 million this summer? So at the moment, my friend, we're not even at that, Adita, and thank you for your super chat. We're not even at a net spend of 43. So Jordan Henderson was 13 million. Fabinho 40 million. That's 53. We've got about $1 million for a youngster. That's 54. And we're probably closing in on seeing Nat Phillips go. So let's bring that up to 63 million pound. And we've spent 95. So far, we're looking at a net spend of about 32 million. But that doesn't tell the entire story. Because the real savings that Liverpool Football Club have seen in this window is partly the Jordan Henderson deal, partly the Fabinho deal, but mostly the wages. And that's what I can't see being brought up enough here. Liverpool Football Club have saved a lot of money in wages by moving on Mane before Firmino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Milner, Henderson, Fabinho, Naby Keita. We've moved on a lot of money, which over the course of a season adds up to about 55 or 60 million in wages saved. So the wages argument, which was once used by FSG to justify their lack of spending, is nonsense. Now, Liverpool Football Club aim to be, as the World Premier League clubs, below 70% of expenditure versus money that they bring in. Liverpool are currently about 63%, I think, last figures I've seen. So 63% of all Liverpool's incomings are spent on expenses, wages, stuff like that. So we're pretty healthy in that regard. Other clubs are up about 80, 85, some clubs even over the 100% mark. FIFA and UEFA's guidelines, I believe, are about 70%. So again, we're under that threshold. Did you honestly think we'd spend more than 100 million on Bellingham? Got sucked in there, mate. My side of this information, James, was always from the players' camp. So keep that in mind. I always honestly said I did not know the number that Liverpool would pay or that Liverpool were in agreement. I had all the information for the player side. So everything I mentioned was, in my belief, true. Did I get sucked in a bit? Yes, I did, James. I did, and that's on me. And that's a fair point. I did get sucked in because I heard the generational talk. I heard all the same stuff you heard about, you know, saving up money for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of a player. And we were cowards. It's that simple. We were cowards and we walked away. But what makes it even more unforgivable is that not only did we walk away, but we walked away and haven't used the money elsewhere. So the money that was apparently there, remember, their words, they didn't want to spend all the Bellingham money on one player. But we haven't even spent that on multiple players. So again, it's just lies. What I want to give you guys what I know about Lavia, and then we can go from there. So I believe, from the journalists and the information that I have at hand, that you will get the here we go for Roméo Lavia very, very soon. Last night, when Liverpool's third bid was rejected by Southampton, the fourth bid went in quickly. Liverpool did look to act to get this done. You may have also seen today, or you may not, that Southampton had a League Cup game. Roméo Lavia was not part of the squad for this game. Not on the bench, not part of the squad. Also, Sacha Tavolieri has said today that from the player's side, he and his representatives and his family have made it very clear to Southampton that the kid wants to move to Liverpool, that the kid is ready to go, and that the kid wants the move to happen. So all it takes now is for Liverpool to just secure the payment structure of how they get to this 50 million. But I truly would be astonished. I would even say it's not out of the realms of possibility that while we're live, something could break. But either way, you will get news in the next 24 hours about Roméo Lavia. That much I'm confident to come on here and say. So that one will get over the line. And even though I'm happy about it, I'm still unhappy about how we got to this point. Because as Jamie Carragher said yesterday, this is indeed embarrassing. This is indeed pathetic that Liverpool Football Club are penny pinching over a few million for a player that, and let's be honest here, Southampton have us by the short and curlies. They know it, we know it, the owners know it, so it's time to pay the money. Because you've wasted a summer sitting around assessing a situation that could have been dealt with very early on. Let's be honest, Southampton said to Liverpool, it's 50 million, pay it or you don't get them. And I used an analogy last night. If you or I went to buy a house and it was £500,000 and the owner said, don't bother putting in a bid, it's £500,000 or we're not selling. We're in no rush to move out. We don't need to move for financial reasons. Give us the £500,000 for the house or we're not going to take the offer. And then I went on to offer 450, 460. You'd get a bit of a pain in your hoop, wouldn't you, if you were the seller? So in this situation, Liverpool would have known. It is 50 million. That is the number. Pay it or don't. But either way, he's 50 million. And we have to pay it because we have dawdled and waited around too long. You can't now go and start to look at the likes of a Decore or somebody like that because you've put in a lot of investment and time into convincing Roméo Lavia that his future lies at Anfield. So we've got to get it done or we face leaving another player high and dry. Now, to go back to Kefren Thuram, apparently we have left him high and dry. Apparently Liverpool looked at the numbers that Nice wanted and the money the player wanted and walked away. And I'm okay if we did that at the start of the window. What I am not okay with is that nothing has happened in the meantime. And I mean nothing. First week of the window, we got the boys in. We lost 2 players and we've done nothing. And yet some people seem to think that they can sit on their high horses and talk down to other fans for having the barefaced gall, the cheek to call the owners out for this. and to want more for our manager and to want more for those players who are still at the club. And I think that's the bare minimum we as fans should be doing, is calling out the wrongs. Because, and I've said this numerous times, one of my biggest fears is that we look back on Jurgen's time at Liverpool and we think of what could have been, what might have been. So I don't want that to happen, because I know what a special manager we have. I know you know what a special manager we have. So we need to be proactive and we need to put the hammer down. And if you're not with us, you're against us. It's that simple. If you want a brown nose, you want to toe the company line, we won't forget. The streets won't forget. You can be as arrogant as you want about it. You can talk down to as many people as you want. But ultimately, there are a lot more fans outside the city of Liverpool than there are inside the stadium. It's important that they remember that at times, because we're fucking massive. Liverpool around the world are massive. Liverpool are a huge entity. And everyone's happy to take your money. Everyone's happy for you to buy your jerseys, your TV packages, your occasional trips over. But don't you dare get ahead of yourself. Don't you get too big for those little boots, because, you know, there are others who like to think that their shit doesn't stink. Well, it does. And you're part of the problem. So get with it, or shut up and move aside and let the rest of us do what needs to be done. Canters, thank you for your super chat, said, really frustrated. Okay, we might have Lavia, but we'll get another midfielder and a defender because we need them. Even if we get players in, right, if Lavia signs tonight, if we bring in a centre-back tomorrow, and if we add in another midfielder the day after, it's still not good enough. And the reason it's still not good enough is, quite simply, Jurgen Klopp has not been given the best opportunity to prepare the team for an assault on the Premier League. Because when we play Chelsea in the opening game, and I would dare to say when we play Bournemouth in the game after that, nobody that we sign between now and then will start. Because they quite simply won't be up to speed. And they have many things that sometimes we don't think about as football fans that they have to sort out. A new home, place for their kids in school, getting used to a new language potentially. There is a lot that goes into a transfer. And there's a reason Klopp said he wants these done early. Because he wants players to settle, he wants them to feel at ease. And of course, happy people are productive people. That's common sense in any business. If your players are happy and fulfilled and their families are settled and they're up to speed on the training pitch, you've every opportunity for those to go out there and perform to their best. We aren't getting that opportunity now. For a set of owners that want to be lauded as geniuses and want to be spoken about as clever and shrewd operators, they are very, very dumb in some regards. Where was the succession planning? Because, remember, we're only mere fans, but we all knew we needed a midfielder at least a year ago. We all knew that our midfield was ageing. I knew Fabinho was going to be sold a month before he was sold, because I knew the offer was coming in, and I knew 40 million would be too much to turn down because I think they overpaid. But we took the money, and what have we done with it since? Nothing. We've gone to Germany, we've done that camp, we've gone to Malaysia, we've done that camp, and then we sat at home and have done nothing else other than get the piss taken out of us by a championship team. That's how this window has gone so far for us. We've been bullied to lose our captain to Saudi Arabia. We've lost Fabinho, and right now we've got no six. But somebody's trying to convince us that Jones can be the six. That's not fair on Curtis. Curtis is a front-footed player. Curtis Jones worked very hard to get back into the good graces of many fans, myself included, and of course back into the manager's good graces. And it's very unfair for him to shoehorn him into a number 6 position where he'll probably look bad in it and get criticised again. So again, I'm going to ask, where's the money, John? And what are you doing? If you don't want to be here, John, and you clearly don't, sell up, go, take your profit and move on with FSG and invest elsewhere. Because the real Liverpool fans around the world, the ones that aren't in your back pocket, we can see through your lies, we can see through your nonsense, we can see through your false promises, your bravado, your bullshit. That is what it is, sir. Sell the club or act like an owner that wants to win. We're not asking you to sign Mbappe. We're not asking you to break world transfer records. We're asking you to do what your peers are doing. We're asking you to run the football club like you mean business. Again, I will point out, we won the Champions League and we went out, I believe it was the Champions League season, we went out in the next window, brought in Harvey Elliott, Sepp van den Berg and Adrian. That is not consolidating your position and strengthening from a position of strength. That is once again embarrassing and doing the bare minimum.